Twilight Princess is one of the most visually appealing Zelda games I have ever played. We see vast landscapes, beautiful villages, and towering mountaintops. One of the most magnificent locations in the game is Snowpeak Ruins, the 5th dungeon in the game, and a sprawling manor located at the end of Snowpeak Top's defending gorge. The only way to arrive there is sliding down the gorge on a frozen leaf. Snowpeak itself is a frozen mountainous region located in the north end of Hyrule, nestled up right next to Zora's domain. Besides the deadly Ice Keese and White Wolfos, the only inhabitants are 2 Yetis, Yeto and Yeta. It's a vast frozen wasteland so disconnected from the rest of Hyrule. In fact, the only way to get there other than warping is through a small tunnel in Zora's domain. After crossing a frozen lake, you must ascend through limited visibility and deadly temperatures. Eventually, you'll reach Snowpeak Top, the highest point in the region, where one single tree resides with giant frozen leaves. The same frozen leaves that Link uses to race down to the mansion. Using the scent of the reekfish in wolf form, that leads Link up to the top, where Yeto, the so-called Snowpeak Beast, is found. Link informs Yeto that he is looking for the Mirror Shard, to which Yeto says he has it down below in Snowpeak Ruins. After arriving to Snowpeak Ruins, we quickly learn that it's not like any other dungeon we have ever seen in a Zelda game. It's a mansion, the Yeti's home. Although decrepit in most areas of the mansion, it's still a home nonetheless, and some parts feel quite homey, especially when you get into the rooms where the Yetis reside. Yeta sitting in front of the fireplace always felt so warm and inviting. In the kitchen in the next room, Yeto is preparing a hot soup for his sick wife. That soup will forever be my favorite food in a video game. It reminds me of my mom making me hot soup when I was sick as a kid. The atmosphere of the living room and the kitchen always felt so real. I can feel the heat of the fire, and I can smell the hot soup being cooked up. The mansion has a total of 3 floors, a courtyard, a large amount of actual cannons, an armory, and even a church. The vacant back rooms, church, and most of the rooms go unused and uninhabited, and have become home to a host of monsters that invaded the mansion after the second Mirror Shard arrived at the mansion. The entry hall is as grand as any European mansion. We are treated with high ceilings, beautiful exposed beams, intricate woodwork, and fascinating and familiar paintings. Most of the paintings are faded, showing their age, but we do see one of the Queen of the Zoras. Other paintings show an older being who could be Rauru, the Sage of Light, or a former King of Hyrule. Among the paintings scattered throughout the ruins, we see a few familiar landscapes: the Sacred Grove, the Arbiter's Grounds, Hyrule Castle, even the Great City in the Sky. Although Arbiter's Grounds and Hyrule Castle would be hallmarks of Hylian travel, the paintings of the Sacred Grove are more puzzling. It's locked away deep within the Faron Woods, protected by an unruly spirit, and basically blocked out to all except the Hero of Time. Is it possible this place belonged to the Hero of Time from a distant past? The paintings of the City in the Sky are also puzzling, considering almost all knowledge of its existence has long since passed, and any means of accessing it are virtually non-existent in modern Hyrule. There is likely a few pieces of evidence that Snowpeak Ruins was once a home base for soldiers and royals of Hyrule long ago. The ruins are set on a piece of land that is far more elevated and far away from the rest of Hyrule, a perfect space for a training area or even a home base for a great war, which Hyrule has seen many times in its long history. High curtain walls around the inner courtyard points to the ruins being well guarded, as well as tall central watchtowers looming over the rest of the complex. In front of the manor, we see engraved stone pillars. The carved symbols on the pillars are particularly interesting, as they are the same carvings that can be found in Hyrule Castle, tying Snowpeak Ruins even closer to the royal family of Hyrule. The symbols are likely a form of a family crest. We see 2 crossed swords with a winged shield, potentially the crest for the royal family of Hyrule or a great hero of the past. It's clear that this place was not built by its current inhabitants, the Yetis. They just found refuge in this beautiful forgotten place. A forgotten place in ruins has allowed the elements to creep in. Large sections of the mansion have long since frozen over, most of which can only be broken by cannons existing in the complex, or the ball and chain found after defeating the Dark Hammer in one of the many armories found in the complex. More evidence that this place was a base for a royal family or a great hero. It feels like a beautiful area that was forgotten by time, and overtaken by the evil that has been sweeping the land of Hyrule. There is a vast difference between the rooms that the Yetis inhabit and how cozy and warm those areas feel, and the emptiness and shivering cold feelings in the rest of the manor where the monsters reside. The vibe of the overall dungeon drags me in with its warm and loving feelings, and rips me away with its isolated and freezing cold environment. The endless monsters that have invaded the manor are no match to the history and beauty of this sprawling manor. Whether it was home to the royal family of Hyrule, preparing for a great war, or the isolated home of a past hero escaping the craziness of Hyrule, one thing's for sure. The beauty of the isolation, the poetry of the barren frozen wasteland, stands tall above the rest of Hyrule.